Hey everybody, this is James at Rattlesnake Defense. This will be a pretty short video. I just wanted to share you guys some of my personal stuff. I do a lot of reviews. A lot of that stuff is borrowed or stuff I've acquired. But I got a handful of my personal AR-15s here, and I want to share with you my little journey and say what you think. And I know I'm opening myself up to a lot of criticism here, but I just want to be honest about where I came from and the steps and where I ended up and how I got to where I am. So stay tuned. All right, so I have here a collection of my personal ARs over the years, just to show you what the transition was. Of course, there were some in between that didn't work out for whatever reasons, a few honorable mentions. But first things first, this is what we call the Frankenstein. This is the first AR-15 I ever built. It was probably 2008 to 2010 maybe, I'm not sure. At that time in my area, nobody was actually building ARs. So I did this not having any idea what I was doing. I'll be blunt, I didn't have any of the proper tools. I made it much harder than it needed to be. But what we have here is a Anderson lower, and then it's got it's got an Anderson lower and upper, a Wilson combat barrel with a Troy Claymore. It's got a adjustable tactical flashlight. I put the EOTech on it and some furniture I was able to scavenge. It's actually got one of the, I don't remember which brand this is, one of the old school flat target triggers on it. And this thing actually shoots really good, considering that I about half mangled it putting it together. We put this together by we put the barrel nut on by clamping the top of the upper and the bottom of the upper into a vise and turning it, because we didn't actually have the proper tools. And it was a huge learning experience for me. I added the flamethrower to the bottom later, just because if you're going to be ridiculous, be completely ridiculous. And because it's so heavy, I put a carry handle on the top. But this thing actually shoots really well. I mean, it's ugly as sin. I do have my backup sights, and this thing is so heavy and ungaudy and unwieldy that it's almost impossible to use. It's been beat half to death by me. I used the crap out of this thing then. It was my baby once. I know that it's not much now, but this is one of those guns I can never get rid of, because I learned so much doing this. Because I'm the kind of guy, I jump right in. There was nobody to teach me, so I wanted to learn how to put these together, so I just put it together and learned a lot of lessons in the process. So, you know, that's the Frankenstein. Shortly after that, we went to, I wanted something, this one and the next one kind of showed up at the same time. Now, this is when I'd actually figured out what I was doing a little bit. This is it's still an Anderson lower. A lot of it's Odin Works. This is in a 6.5 Grendel. I wanted something that I thought was an upgrade compared to the regular 223. So it's got a Odin barrel, brake, a lot of custom furniture, Odin lightweight bolt. And this was the next project. Of course, I still got the same target flat trigger here. But this gun shoots great. It shoots a lot further than it should for, you know, an AR platform. Super impressed. Again, the main theme of this is I learned a lot building this. Now, I spent a lot more money on this one than I did the last one. But I learned a lot about accuracy. You know, it's got the lighter weight barrel, so the heat was an issue with it. 6.5 Grendel is not the most popular round, so you don't have the ammunition available that you can get for, you know, 5.56 or 300 blackout stuff. There's just not that much out there. But again, one of those guns I can't get rid of, because this was definitely a stepping stone on the way. I went with red because again, I'm a ridiculous guy. And if my idea was if I was going to build a nicer custom AR, I wanted people to know that it was custom as soon as they saw it. So that's what it is. And then, about the same time, in the theme of me being ridiculous, this was a Frankenstein together build I did just for looking cool. As you guys know, I'm a big fan of the fixed carry handles. This is right up my alley as far as being old school. You got the grenade launcher sights. I got the 37mm spikes on the bottom, tiger stripe. I don't know what you want me to tell you on this. I think it's cool. If you think it's stupid, you're right too. But again, I had a lot of fun with this. I learned a lot in the process. But that brings us to the next one. So this is probably one of the nicest guns I've built for me. I know that a lot of these high-end big YouTubers out there have way nicer shit than this. I'm not trying to, this is not me being a piss of contest, being like, look how nice my stuff is, I swear. It's a spikes lower with a lot of Odin and other stuff. I got sick and tired of all my guns being heavy. So shortly after I was in a flood and I lost the vast majority of my possessions, I decided to cheer myself up by building a new AR because that's what you do. And what I did was check the weight on every single individual part of this gun before I ordered it. So we have fluted buffer tube, skeletonized bolt, lightweight buffer. It's got the drilled through titanium takedown pins, the skeletonized grip, lightweight muzzle brake and forend. It's got the lightweight barrel, of course, to go with the theme. And it was on a Crusader lower, so I went with a full Crusader paint job on it. This is a handful of years ago when Cerakote first became like a real popular thing. So this is my first Cerakoted gun. And again, this is one I'll never get rid of. This is one of my babies. I love this gun so much. I have nicer weapons than this and stuff that shoots better than this, but this is mine. I made this, I built it the way I wanted, and you know, some stuff you just can't replicate, you can't replace. It's the memories that go with it too. But that brings me to my final stopping point. After that gun, there were a few honorable mentions. We tried some primary weapon systems. I had one of their piston guns. I liked it a lot. Ruger did one of those Ruger, not the AR-556, but the SR-556 with a piston, and some LWRCs. The problem is that a lot of these guns I've made, personally, the ones I've built, and you know, it's not like it's a hard thing to do, guys. It's just Legos. You just order the parts and you put them together, and it's not, I don't want to make this out like it's difficult or anything. It's not something that's hard to do at all. But you take this stuff out, you know, you pick out what you want and you make something that's yours so that nobody else has one. That's the idea. But I ended up having a lot of accurate guns, but they're not the most reliable. You know, that 6.5 Grendel and the lightweight Crusader, because of their lightweight nature, they can be kind of finicky. The Frankenstein's so heavy that you can't possibly carry that thing around. So I needed like a real accurate, reliable weapon. So I went through the rabbit hole, all the way down through the rabbit hole. Like I said, we did some LWRC, we did primary weapon systems. I tried one of the Palmettos, forgive me, the Scar knockoff. I can't recall the name right now. It was a disaster. It was a glorified single shot. Did not function well. This Jackal, the Jackal, that's what it was. I tried one of the Jackals, ordered one of those from Palmetto State. It didn't do good. And finally, I bit the bullet and did the thing that's kind of a meme at this point. This is a FN Scar 16. This is what I finally landed on after all the stuff I've tried, all the things I did. This was the final form of what I wanted. Got a lot of flack for getting the 16 instead of the 17, but 5.56 and ARs is what I've trained with. So it's what I'm more comfortable with. I understand the 308's a lot more power, but I feel like I'm more equipped. I am better with this gun than with one of the 17s. But I got one of the camo ones. I got an ACOG on the top. Again, I know that's kind of a cliche, but it's a cliche for a reason, because this gun will shoot as well as my most accurate guns and is more reliable than my most reliable guns. The problem with these, of course, is the cost. These things are ridiculously priced. The problem is, you know, you want to buy a gun like this and you want something that's super accurate and super reliable. Well, you're going to pay what it would cost for both. You know, I went around in circles and circles and thought we've tried so many things, and I'm sure I'm forgetting a lot, but this is probably the best version of this type of rifle that you can get. I did put one of the Geissele triggers in it because the trigger's a little iffy for what you pay for one of these guns. But, you know, the thing I like about this is there's no batteries, no electronics. I can pick it up and go. I don't have to worry about anything. It's adjustable for me. I'm not a very huge guy. I got short little T-Rex arms, so the collapsible stock is a big deal. I could really get on it well. It fits me well and it handles well, so. But I want to share you guys, you know, what I've been through, what I've done, the mistakes I've made, the things I've learned. And I'm not going to pretend like I have all the answers for everything. What I've learned is that all this stuff is, it's very personal. You know, it's what you like. And I can't tell you what you like. I can tell you what worked for me. And even in my reviews, I don't claim to have all the answers. I just tell you what I think. And that's all it is what I think. So the journey I went down, I could have saved myself a lot of money if I just would have went with something like this right out of the gate. But I don't expect somebody who's just getting into tactical rifles or anything like that to spend $3,500 on a rifle and another $1,200 on a scope. You know, that's a lot to ask. That's a big ask. I don't have that kind of spare money. You know, buying this was a big deal for me. I'm not that rich. But it was the answer to the question that I kept asking myself. You know, if you could take one gun with you, which one's it going to be? Well, am I going to take one of the accurate ones with a scope, or am I going to take one of the reliable ones? You know, I got somewhere I got a video for my most used gun ever, and it's just an old Bushmaster Patrolman from the early 90s, one of the band models. And I've used that gun so much that it's just like butter. And it's super reliable, but it doesn't shoot very well. It doesn't shoot straight. So, you know, you can go with AKs, you can go with, you know, we did a stint with the Galils, which, by the way, Galils are super nice. You got the CZs, the Bren, which are super interesting guns. I just couldn't make a Bren work for me. You know, at some point or another, because I work in the industry and I work in a store and I know every gun under my area, if I wanted to try something out, I could probably borrow it. So I've shot just about all of them. It's just, this is the one that is actually didn't know anybody that had one of these. So this was a gamble on my part, but it is what it is, I guess. And it just depends on what you want, what works for you, and what you think is the best for you. So I'm just sharing my journey here. No ego. The Frankenstein was a complete disaster. The other ones are iffy. I just like the look of the Odin Works stuff. That's why I stuck with it. But, you know, there's a lot of stuff out there. A lot of it's good. I'm not here to tell you which is good, what's not good. You know, I still use a lot of Wilson Combat. I still use a lot of different stuff and different builds for different things. So nobody has the answer for everything. That includes me. Thank you guys for watching, and I appreciate your time. Can't believe I poured out half my Sonic.
I saw that. That one's my favorite.
Sunday drivers. Oh, that's just cows.